Hey guys, welcome to another video. So today I'll be showing you guys how to make some clay pins. I've seen a lot of these online and I was inspired to make my own, so now I'm going to show you guys how to make them as well. Since we're working with clay today, I'm just going to clean my table beforehand because clay collects dust really easily. For the supplies, you're going to need polymer clay, and these are totally optional, but I recommend getting some nail art tools, as well as a candle lid, an X-Acto knife, and since we're going to paint these, we're definitely going to need acrylic paint, as well as resin and pin backings. The technique that I'm going with here is I'm using a bunch of scrap clay that I've collected from previous projects, and then I'm just going to mold them into the shape that I want and then paint over them. This saves me from buying a lot of different clay colors, but this is totally a choice. The first pin I'm making is a Yakult drink inspired pin, so you can see the reference photo that I have off to the side. But here I'm starting off by rolling it out and flattening the clay, and I'm using the candle lid to flatten it out and give it an even width, and it works really well. I'm also using the nail dotting tools as rolling pins, and they work really well for the job. And here you can see the width that I rolled it out to. You want it to be pretty thick. Next, I am using the nail dot tools to sketch out a rough shape of what I want onto the clay, and this is because I can't freehand cut the shape, but if you can totally skip this part. Here you can see me using the X-Acto knife to cut out the shape that I sketched earlier. Now I'm just smoothing any rough edges with my fingers. I have finished that pin for now, so I've put it off to the side and I'm starting onto my next one, which is going to be a rainbow. I've just rolled the scrap clay into a log and then I formed an arch and flattened it out. Now I'm just going to make the rainbow shape more defined by cutting off some of the edges. I decided to make the rainbow look asymmetrical, so I left one of the sides longer than the other. Lastly, I'll show you how to make the frog pin. So I flattened out a green ball of clay and then I'm just going to cut out a rough shape of the frog and smooth off the edges like earlier. The clay did actually get some dust on it, so I'm just cleaning with a cotton swab and some rubbing alcohol here. To finish it off, I'm just going to add the eyes onto the frog as well as form a little log for the mouth and then some teardrops. They're all done, so now I'm just going to transfer them to a tray and put them in the toaster oven to bake. And polymer clay bakes at various temperatures, so check the packaging on your clay to see how long and for what temperature you should bake it for. After I've let them completely cool, I'm going to start off by painting a white base for the pins, just so that the other colors are more vibrant once I paint them on later. I went ahead and painted both the front and the back, but you can also just paint the front if you don't really care about what the back of the charm looks like. When the white base of the paint has dried, I'm going to add on the various other colors and layer them on top. I finished the rest of the rainbow and the Yakult pin off camera, but here is what they look like after the paint job. Of course, I didn't paint the frog pin because the clay was already colored accordingly. This is the part where we start working with resin, so I'm going to protect myself by putting on some gloves as well as wearing a mask off camera, but you want to protect yourself whenever you're working with resin. To save some time, I'm just going to use UV resin to attach the pin backings onto the clay charms. And this is because UV resin can be cured with UV light versus epoxy 2-part resin, which needs to be cured over time. To speed up the process, I'm going to put them under direct UV light, and this is just one of those nail gel machines. Now, in order to glaze the pins, I'm actually going to be using the 2-part epoxy, and of course you can use the UV resin if you prefer it, but I just like 2-part epoxy more for this job. To glaze the pins, I actually put them onto a silicone mat, and this is because resin does not stick to silicone and I don't want any excess resin to drip onto my tables. If you prefer a matte finish on your pins, you can go ahead and skip this step, but I really like the resin because it gives it a glossy look as well as make the colors more vibrant and smooths out the surface of the pins. Here they are after I've added the resin, and I'm just going to let these dry for at least 24 hours before touching them. This is how they all turned out, and I'm super satisfied with them, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.